At the last debate, Mike Bloomberg received really tough questioning about his past sort of sexual harassment comments and actions, the policy of rampant NDAs. And I believe that his campaign thinks that they've gotten past that. In the answer, even back then, he made it all about like what the corporation has done and what it's now doing. But I want to be very clear about what he has done. And so I was very excited earlier today when I saw that Samuel Finkelstein had spread some of the contents of one of his sexual harassment lawsuits from 1998. So we're gonna give you a couple of excerpts. What I want you to focus on is not just what the company was accused of doing, but what he as an individual in the late 90s was accused of doing. So here's a screenshot from that. Talking about the company, yes, openly encouraged the general degradation of women. But they said that this is from its male managers, employees, from Chief Executive Officer Bloomberg on down. This was not just that he presided over this sort of thing, but that he took part in it personally and repeatedly.
Yeah, or like he said in the debate, or they just didn't like a joke I told. The callousness
it's really
crazy.
Their fault, I think.
Crazy, he is so arrogant.
Yes, and maybe that'll come through as we continue on with the screenshots.
Yes.
So, on virtually a daily basis, you had some of these behaviors by Bloomberg and his male executives. Repeated and unwelcome sexual comments, repeated and unwelcome sexual overtures, repeated and unwelcome overt sexual gestures, including, upon information and belief, unauthorized touching and inappropriate acts. So, non-consensual sexual touching is what we call sexual assault. And again, this is not just the company culture. This is the candidate himself.
Sounds
and
not
in 1969. This is in the late 90s.
Sounds a little more like it sounds like a little bit more than a joke that he told.
Yeah, that they received poorly.
Right.
So let's continue. So let's see. We have women sales personnel were encouraged by Bloomberg to, among other things, wear sexually provocative clothing, short skirts, would be an advantage for promotion. Women who applied for sales positions were required to meet criteria of sex appeal. Women sales personnel who were less attractive or who were married were ridiculed, and new mothers and recently married women lost lucrative portions of their sales territory, including pay cuts and inferior bonuses because they were no longer sexually available to Mike Bloomberg and other executives at the Bloomberg company.
Yeah, I mean, this just reeks of the entitlement of big money interests and financial firms on Wall Street in New York City that has destroyed our country. Obviously, or it did for a while, with the financial collapse. It's indicative of the same arrogance that we saw throughout those institutions. And it was a culture of just degradation of women, of a boys' club. I mean, just watch Wolf of Wall Street. You can get a picture of how people were treating women and how there was this fraternal nature at these financial firms, and Bloomberg was a part of that. Even if he comes off as unassuming and sort of meek in many ways, despite arrogant at the same time, he was a man in a position of enormous power and privilege. He's one of the richest people in the country, top 10. Yeah. So imagine getting these comments at your place of work and being touched inappropriately by that person with so much power.
Okay, I found this on the
I have no idea what triggered that. I haven't touched it in minutes.
It would just absolutely, it could wreck your career because you would be so intimidated.
Yeah, you'd be worried every day that if you did the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, it was perceived to be the wrong thing. This is Bloomberg, like in New York. How can you turn on him or be perceived to? That would be the end of your career, and that's why he's faced so many charges like this, so many different cases. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.